Joining us now to talk about the logout campaign. Today was, of course, a big meeting between the National Restaurant Association of India and Zomato. Is a former president of the Association of Restaurateurs, Riyaaz, joining us here on Startup Central. He's, of course, also the CEO of Impresario Restaurants. Riyaaz, first up, starting off on a light vein, are you happy it's not you who's heading NRAI at the moment and it's Rahul Singh who's having to do this entire fight and spearhead the agitation, the detox, as you guys are calling it?
Well, it's not an easy job which Rahul is taking on. We often find ourselves at loggerheads with public opinion, but we have to do what we have to do to make sure that our industry survives and thrives. And it's not easy, but we all are chipping in, and we all realize the importance of this job. It's a very important one. We are one of the largest employers, and we're part of the 2% of the GDP, which needs to be protected.
Are you trying to tell me that this 2% of the GDP with the multiplier impact of the economy, restaurants, is actually that threatened by a Zomato Gold, Zomato Infinity? Is it actually that bad, or is it, being seen also as an opportunity for all of you to come together and maybe discuss issues that should have been done earlier, maybe at the time of signing the contracts with a Zomato and a Swiggy?
No, Nayantara, these things have escalated, right? I mean, when they started off, if you look at the genesis of Zomato, where it started off, what it started off as, and what it is today is a completely different animal. And I think that trajectory follows their projects and their various offers they come. They start off as a completely different product and land up as a completely different product. And these changes happen incrementally, policy by policy, which they release every month, done completely unilaterally, right? So the product which we signed up for is completely different from the product that is being sold as Zomato Gold to its members. So we don't recognize it, so that's the problem.
Okay, that's a very serious charge that you're making over there. Are you trying to tell me that when restaurateurs like yourself signed up, maybe you signed up for something else and Zomato evolved to something else which you didn't know about? Because that's a really serious charge, and it's something that you would even have legal standing on.
That's absolutely right, and that's the most astonishing part. You sign a piece of paper which says that you abide by the terms and conditions on their website. Okay. Every month they change the terms of conditions of use of everything. So Zomato Gold decides that now is gone from being restricted to the top 1% of Zomato customers to anybody who's willing to pay 1,200 rupees and become a member of Zomato Gold. First, it was supposed to be only time-bound and limited restaurants and limited locations. Now it is anybody who wants to sign on can sign on as restaurant, pay a certain fee, and become a discounting restaurant. So it is completely different. The rules keep changing, the goalposts keep shifting, and this is done completely unilaterally by Zomato. The restaurateurs have had no say in this whole thing. One restaurateur getting off does not work for them. They don't care. They're like, okay, if you get off, we are going to get your neighbor and your neighbor's neighbor who will get on. So you're going to lose this business. So this is how they kept people on this platform for a very, very long time. It is the truth. It is not a charge. It is the fact.
If it is the fact that you all are solidly behind in saying that Zomato has been changing the terms of conditions of a contract, which I would imagine was signed by Zomato as well as the restaurants, then would it be fair to say that if these consultations break down, we could see the NRAI head to court? Is that a conversation you guys have had among yourselves as yet?
Honestly, we are hoping it does not come to that. I think there has been for a while, there has been no dialogue, or at least there has not. They have not taken us seriously as a restaurant association. I think now that they understand that the restaurants also can hit back, they have decided to change their policies. And I hope that stands, because it is absolutely vital for the ecosystem that aggregators and restaurants work together, because let's face it, we can add a lot of value. Actually, we do add a lot of value to the aggregators now, and the aggregators can add a lot of value to us. The point is just getting aligned, and hopefully now we will align a lot better, and predatory practices will stop and partnerships will start.
So can I also ask you a question that, yesterday we saw meetings with other food tech companies, with other aggregators. Is your problem, or should I say the restaurateurs' problem, the NRAI's problem, only with one operator, which is Zomato? Or is it with everyone? Is it with an Easy Diner, with a Dine Out, with a Gourmet Passport?
So Nanda, we of course we have issues with all aggregators actually. We have some or the other issues. So for example, let me tell you that for us, data masking is a real problem. So for example, we don't know who we are delivering our food to. They will not tell us. So the order will come from a Zomato rider will come and pick it up. But there's no way for the restaurant to know who he's supplying to, right? Which we feel is completely unfair, because a restaurant is ordering food from our restaurant, but we don't get to build a relationship with the customer, because the data is masked. Now resultantly, if you extrapolate that into the future, not very long, far from now, there will be a point of time where Zomato or Swiggy or any of these aggregators will control the entire funnel and will control the entire pipeline. They will decide where to direct that pipeline, who gets the business, who does not get the business. And what would that do to a small time restaurant? He will get decimated. We want to prevent that kind of situation from happening. It sounds dystopian, I know, but if left unchecked, it's going to go there. And this was the check and balance that was needed. And I'm really glad that the National Restaurant Association has stepped in and taken that stand, that we will not let our value erode. We will compete on price, we will compete on service, we will compete on food, but we will not compete on discounting.
But isn't that also the problem, Riyaaz? You're talking the National Restaurant Association of India. So far, a lot of you have been united. The problem is, how long can you stay united? There's also a sector which is also disorganized.
I think the restaurant sector has been disorganized, but for over the last 5 years or so, we've faced so many challenges, and we are grateful for these headwinds that have come our way, that has really kind of bound us together, as tighter than family now. The restaurant community is very, very tight now, and it's tighter than it's ever been, and it's only going to get stronger.
Okay, so united you stand, divided you will of course fall, as that
divided we will succumb to the aggregators' wishes.
But the point is that all of you need each other. Yesterday, I was also interviewing AD Singh of the Olive Group of Restaurants, and he brought up another point. You're talking about how Zomato changes its terms and conditions on a monthly basis, which you find out from the website. AD Singh seemed to have a problem also with the fact that a lot of you were willing to invest in low-cost kitchens, were looking to enter food delivery with Zomato and Zomato Gold, but Zomato was coming out with its own brands, its own products, which he thinks is very unfair, which was not revealed to the restaurateurs. How big a problem is that according to you, and would that also therefore mean the spillover is the next fight is perhaps over food delivery?
So this is again part of that dystopian future I was telling you about, where both the aggregators are doing these things. They're going to take the data, they're going to take customer behavior, they're going to take customer behavior predictions, they're going to divert traffic from our kitchens to actually businesses which are owned by them. I mean, it's happening in the e-commerce sector. Unfortunately, food retail, and we are considered food retail for some reason. We are not part of the e-com policy as of now. But this is a real problem. An aggregator, a marketplace, should not be owning or have any kind of control over the kitchens in which they are going to supply from. And they will use this data, they will use this to work even more for their profits, and the small guy is going to get killed in the future. So we have to prevent that from happening.
So have you folks also had conversations with the government? You raised a very valid point. We did see the government change the definition of the marketplace, which has impacted global giants like Amazon as well as Walmart. And food retail has been left out of it. Are you in active dialogue with Mr. Piyush Goyal, with the Commerce Ministry, to relook this?
Yes, we are, and we have spoken to them. We have put our concerns forward, and the government is taking it into consideration. And we are hoping to hear from them really, really soon. But in the meantime,
how long realistically can this detox last till it hurts the restaurants? I'll tell you why I'm asking this. Zomato at the moment is funded, it's got big bucks behind it, but that's not the case for all restaurants, and it is a reality that, you do see the weak crumble first, they do give in first. So realistically, how long can this log out and detox last?
So actually, restaurants are finally going to start making profits. What the aggregators have done is not, for the industry to grow, and which is what the aggregators are claiming, that they are helping the industry to grow. Here's where I have a problem. The industry has not grown. We have not seen an increased number of footfalls. Okay, if you're giving a one-on-one you're technically giving a 40% discount. Okay, best case scenario. Now, for you to be able to just match up your 40%, your top line has to grow by at least 20%, which is not happening. You know, just to stay where we are, we need an additional top line of 20%, which the aggregators have had promised but have not delivered. The top line has remained stagnant or actually reduced, and the bottom line has completely vanished. So this helping the market grow is just not working. Finally, once the discounts stop, will restaurateurs be able to start paying the bills? So far, I know so many, like I have brokers who come and tell me that they have never had such a large inventory sheet ever in their lives. This is unprecedented. Restaurants are popping like flies. They're dying. They're closing down, and that needs to be checked.
Restaurants are dying down, they're popping like flies, but I want to once again ask you about food delivery. So far, we haven't heard that much about it. The same operators you're talking about, according to a lot of you restaurateurs, can charge up to an 18% commission for delivery. But at the same time, then you guys also save the overhead costs of having the motorcycles, the runners, and all of that. Is that going to be the next fight?
No, so listen, I mean, if they started off with their commissions at 12%, and now some players are refusing to sign on anybody for less than 30%. So they've muscled their way up on commissions also. Again, by controlling the pipeline and controlling the database.
30%. I want to ask you that again.
30%.
30%.
30%. They are forcing new restaurants logging onto the chain 30%. That's what they're charging. But here's the thing, right? Why bundle the services? Okay, you are directing business my way, take something. If I want to use my rider, let me use my rider. Why don't I have the choice? Why does it have to be a bundle? Right? Unbundle your services. Right now, what the aggregators are doing, right from the ordering app to the final mile, they are controlling everything. We don't have a choice on whether we can deliver the products on our own. We don't have a choice on the kind of customer loyalty programs we can run. We don't know who we are delivering the product to. End to end is being controlled by the aggregator, and we want an unbundling of the services, which is only fair. We let the restaurant choose whether they want to use a Zomato rider or whether they want to use their own fleet. That is should be the restaurant's decision.
Can I also ask you that why you haven't gone to the Competition Commission of India? Because if you are alleging there is predatory pricing at play, there is abuse of dominant position, basically everything you're talking about seems to point towards abuse of dominant position. How come you haven't gone to the competition regulator?
Well, we are hopeful that we'll be able to resolve all of this with dialogue. If these things are not resolved, then of course we will take it to the next step.
Riyaaz, I hope you guys all sort it out. All of this also, of course, happened during the course of a very long weekend. Last week was truncated for all of us office goers, and I'm sure it was bad for business for everybody, whether it was a Zomato or whether it was a restaurant. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining us here and for being so candid with your views, and keep coming back to Startup Central. Something tells me this fight is going to last for some time.
For a bit more.